What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another new Comic Book Day Top 10 list. Today I'm going to be ranking and reviewing all the books that I picked up for March 15th, 2023's new Comic Book Day. I've got 12 books to go over with you guys today. I am very excited to talk about them with you. I'm going to be going over books from Marvel, Image Comics, Boom Studios, AWA, and IDW. As always, as I begin to talk about these books, just be aware that there are going to be some spoilers, but to give you a heads up, I put a little spoiler tag down below in the corner to let you know that spoiler is about to happen. So just be aware of that. If you don't want to see any spoilers, just skip on to the next one. Now, without further ado, everyone, let's talk some comics. Alright, everyone, as you already know, I picked up a total of 12 issues this week, so you know what that means. 2 of them did not make this week's top 10 list, and the first one that I'm going to be going over today is from Boom Studios. We've got Berserker, issue number 12. This is cover A. I'm going to be honest with you guys. No doubt in my mind, this was my favorite issue of the series. But you want to know why? Because it's finally over. This shit was an absolute mess. The story was all over the place. It was absolutely abysmal. But before I continue on with that, I did like the artwork a lot. I love the action throughout the entirety of the series. They did a phenomenal job with that. The gruesomeness on the pages, you really got to see the violence and just all of that. They did a top-notch killer job on it, no pun intended. Now, as far as the story goes, if you even want to call it a story, it was absolutely terrible. I was excited to see how they wrapped it all up because the last couple of issues weren't that horrible. They were a lot better than the earlier stuff. But with this one, not only did they wrap up that story that they've been building up, I guess, the entire time, but they also introduced an entirely new plot, and then they wrapped that plot up as well. Now, this is going to be a small spoiler, but we did get left on a cliffhanger. I'll tell you what. If they have another volume of this, no doubt in my mind, I'm not going to be picking this one up. They already duped me on 12 total issues. I'm not giving it another try. Usually for books like that, I always say, just wait for a trade paperback, read it all at once, and I know I've said that for this series. I don't recommend that one at all. I really don't. I didn't really like almost anything about it. Now, for the other one that we've got this week that didn't make the top 10 list, we've got Marvel's Hulk, issue number 13. This is cover A. I was really excited to see Ryan Ottley take over. I wanted to see what he could do with this series. I haven't really been a big fan of what Donny Cates did with it. I've always talked about how my favorite part of this series has been Ryan Ottley's artwork. The series did end up getting canceled. I think we've only got one more issue, so I mean, in reality, it's not like he really had a lot of options for this series. I'm sure he's pretty much just picking up where Donny Cates left off and just kind of wrapping it up as best as he can. This issue, we did get a ton of action. We finally get to see Titan Hulk in action. I've wanted to see him for so long now. The first time we got Titan Hulk, we didn't really get anything from him, but now we've seen him take over the planet Hulk. We got to see how Bruce Banner got the Mind Palace. We got to see that Doctor Strange wasn't actually him either. There was a lot of good stuff that was going on in this issue. It wasn't as horrible as a lot of the other ones. I am excited to see how they wrap this one up, though. Let's talk about it more down below. And now, let's move on to the real top 10 list. Here we go, everyone. Kicking this list off first, we've got coming in at number 10. This is Boom Studios. Harrower, issue number 2. This is cover A. So originally, I wasn't planning on picking up the second issue. I didn't really like the first one kind of at all, but I kept telling myself, I want to know who this monster is. Who is the Harrower? What's going on in this town? What's going on with all the parents as well? They kind of seem a little on edge as if they're the ones who created this monster. So I said, you know what, AR, just grab the second issue, go from there. So I'm going to say a few negative things before I get into the positives about this series. The plot still is virtually non-existent. The first one, it felt very scattered, as if we already knew what was going on, who the characters were. It felt established already, so I wasn't a huge fan of that. Not a horrible thing, but just my personal opinion. Second issue continued on with that, jumped right into it. I don't really remember who any of these characters are, and the artwork is just okay. We still didn't learn a lot of info either. Now, here's where I tend to really like this series. It reminds me of a cheap 80s slasher film. I'm all about this monster now. He just came in this party, he's got his swords or knives out, and he is just hacking everybody up. And that's why I like this one. I went into it wanting a story. I wanted to know everything about what's going on in this town, but instead, I just want to see this monster just hacking everybody up. That's why I'm going to continue on with this series. Take that for what it is, though. Like I said, there's really no story at all at this point. The characters are extremely forgettable. The artwork is just okay. But this monster right there on the front, he is an absolute badass, and I'm really excited to see just more of the carnage that he can cause in this town. So for those reasons, we've got it coming in at number 10. Next up at number 9, we've got AWA's Trojan, issue number 3. This is cover A. As much as I love AWA and I hype them up all the time, we're 3 issues deep, and this is probably on the lower end of the stuff that I have read from them. I love the first issue. That was probably my favorite issue of the series. They did a great job just setting up the story, setting up the characters. I really felt for Nessa, and I was excited to see where they went with that. But then we learned in the second issue that pretty much everything that she told Dirk actually wasn't true at all. She's got her own motive. She's out trying to get revenge on Kapos, and and that's where this third issue leads us. She's headed to his castle or his big compound, whatever he has, and she's basically locked in a cell the entire time, but it's because of her own doing. She's trying to get set up for the show. I'm not going to be spoiling anything else with that. But on top of that, we did get some action. We got to see some other mythics. I mean, little Dobby from Harry Potter basically made an appearance in this one too. So overall, it wasn't a bad issue. Just the setup is still there. I'm excited to see how they conclude this one. Let's talk about it more down below. And for those reasons, we've got coming in at number 9, this is AWA's Trojan, issue number 3. Next up this week at number 8, we've got Image Comics, The Last Barbarians, issue number 2. This is cover A. So I've talked to quite a few people who didn't like that first issue, and they actually dropped it from that one. I don't know. I'm enjoying it so far. I'm also a big fan of Hellcop, so take that for what it is. I'm pretty sure it's basically the exact same creative team that's on Hellcop is on this series as well, so maybe I'm making that connection. But as far as the story itself goes, I will admit it definitely is all over the place, so I see where people are saying that. We pretty much don't know anything about literally anything or anybody at this point. Our main characters, we learned a little bit about their backstory in the first issue. The guy that's hosting the main mission, we don't know anything about him, if he's telling the truth. The kid, is it even his grandson or not? Then the people who captured the kid, we don't know who they are, what they're up to. Then the 2 women that are after the kid. It turns out the kid has powers as well. There is a lot of different stuff that's happening in this series, but like I said, I am a big fan of Hellcop. I like the direction of that series. This one has a lot of potential, and I'm sticking with it. Definitely check it out. It's 2 issues deep. I mean, worst case scenario, you're out $8 and you got a decent story on your hands. Let me know what you think about it down below, and for those reasons, we've got it coming in at number 8. And next up, we've got coming in at number 7 this week, folks, we've got Boom Studios, House of Slaughter, issue number 13. This is cover A. Now, I know I have been extremely back and forth in this series. The entire first volume with Jace, I thought it was terrible. I didn't recommend it to pretty much anybody, and I'm a huge Something is Killing Children fan. Now we moved into Edwin's story, and I actually liked that. I thought it was pretty good, maybe because the stuff with Jace truly was that bad in my opinion. But then we moved back to Jace set in the future for this current arc, and I thought to myself, man, AR, just drop it. You know it's not going to be good, but I'm glad I stuck with it. This newest volume, this newest arc has pretty much been the best stuff that's come out of House of Slaughter, in my opinion. I think they've done a great job with it. I really like the direction of the story. I like the introductions of the new characters. We got a new character in this issue, but this one doesn't particularly focus on Jace right now. He's still trying to find Sunny, but we pretty much just get to see Sunny and Jolly. She's kind of just grooming him to be part of the butcher's shop. She's introducing him to everybody, showing him around, showing him how nice and cool everything is. He gets food, he gets a place to sleep, he wants them to stick around for dinner. And man, there's some other crazy stuff that happens in this issue. I don't want to spoil everything for you guys, but if you stuck around with this series and you ended up dropping it after Edwin, pick it back up. No doubt in my mind, it's been the best stuff that's come out of House of Slaughter. And for those reasons, we've got it coming in at number 7. All right, so next up this week, we've got coming in at number 6, this is Marvel's Miles Morales Spider-Man, issue number 4. This is cover A. I am absolutely loving this series. They are doing a killer job on this one right now. The artwork, the plot and character development, everything is just a top-notch A+ job in my opinion. Now, I know I'm a little biased towards Miles. He's one of my favorite characters. I know that's an unpopular opinion with a lot of people, but I think his series are great. The last one was awesome. This one's off to a great start too. Now, I went into this one with a better mindset than the last issue because once they kind of told us Ranim's motives, I was like, man, she's just this spoiled, entitled girl. She just thinks that she deserves stuff when in reality, she probably doesn't really deserve it. But someone commented a different perspective on it, and I was like, man, that's a great way going into it. They're saying, no, Ranim is just taking her anger out on Miles because that could have been her life, and he's not taking advantage of all the things that he's been given, like the Brooklyn Visions Academy, the great family. She's got a broken family. She lost the lottery to get in there, so she's just a little bit upset with that. Going into this 4th issue, then, no. She's crazy. She is absolutely crazy. She's got all the screws loose in her head. She's got Genki prisoners. She's taken Starling as well. She is on a mission to just take down Miles and everybody that he knows and loves. I'm really excited to see where they go with this character. I thought maybe she was going to turn into just a friend or a good character after a few issues, but no, I think we're going to be seeing her for a little bit longer, and they're definitely doing a killer job on her so far. I want to hear your opinions on this one, and for those reasons, we've got it coming in at number 6. All right, here we go, everyone, down to the top 5. So we've got coming in at number 5, this is IDW's TMNT, The Last Ronin, Lost Years, issue number 2. This is cover A. This was an awesome issue. They did an incredible job with it. I love the artwork. I love the storytelling. This felt like an extremely long issue, but that's not a bad thing by any means. It wasn't oversized either. There was just an insane amount of dialogue happening in this one. We did get to see Casey with the turtles doing a little bit of training like that, but the main focus was on Michelangelo doing his training with Master Yip. He finally met up with him. We did get to see a ton of action as well. Don't forget, he's still after Deathworm and that entire gang. He's still trying to make his way to New York City, where the last volume happened with TMNT The Last Ronin. But man, this one was awesome. Between the conversations between him and Master Yip and all the other turtles, really good stuff was going on in the second issue. I highly recommend checking this one out, especially if you are a TMNT fan. You don't have to read the first volume of The Last Ronin. This one takes place before that anyway. Check this one out. It was awesome, and for those reasons, we've got it coming in at number 5. Next up this week, we've got coming in at number 4. This is Image Comics. Little Monsters, issue number 11. This is cover B. I'm a huge fan of this series. I'm also a big fan of Jeff Lemire, so there is some bias towards it. At this point, though, I do recommend reading it in a hardcover or trade paperback when they do come out with one. But man, when I read this series, it's not just words on a page. Dustin Nguyen has done such a phenomenal job with the artwork. I feel the characters, what they're saying. I see their expressions, and it's more than just a story. They're doing a tremendous job on this one. I really do highly recommend checking this one out eventually when it does come out in a trade paperback, because I have talked about it in the past. As far as the plot goes, it pretty much is the exact same plot since the very beginning. They did have some new introductions with some actual humans in it, so there is that aspect to it, not just the vampires trying to survive and what happened to all the elders. We're at the point where we're kind of winding down on everything, but it's the character introductions that they do in every single one of these issues. We get to see a new character, how they became a vampire, how they became part of the group, and just their role in the group. I really do love it. It's such a good read in my opinion, and for those reasons, we've got it coming in at number 4 this week. Next up at number 3, we've got Image Comics, Art Brut, issue number 4. This is cover A, and this is the end of the arc for those of you who are reading this series. And yes, I said the end of the arc, not the end of the series like it originally was supposed to be. I guess they're going to be continuing on with this one, and I am so excited for it. This end of the arc, this was an extremely satisfying ending, and it's pretty much everything that I wanted out of it. Over the last couple of issues I talked about, I wanted to see a little bit more of the art world. I wanted to see what's going on in it. We got that in this issue. We got Art Brut, Manny the Mannequin. He's chasing that kid through all these different paintings, all these different just art realms, trying to find this kid and figure out what to do with him next. That was a really crazy thing that happened too. But then the other side of stuff, we got the detective. She's at the Art Institute and just mowing down everybody. This was a crazy awesome issue. I mean, I'm also a big fan of just the other stuff that he's come out with. We got Ice Cream Man. Haha was an okay series. Out of all of them, Ice Cream Man's definitely the best. Haha, it's kind of skippable. I do recommend checking this one out, especially now that they are going to be continuing on with it as well. Let me know what you thought about it down below, and for those reasons, we've got it coming in at number 3. And now for these next two. They were extremely hard to pick and choose who was getting number 1 and number 2. They are both absolutely well-deserving of the number 1 spot. I love them both. I've got zero complaints for either issue. But one of them has to get number 2, and this is Image Comics. Nocterra, issue number 12. This is cover A. Nocterra is back with the start of a brand new arc. I love this series. I've been hyping it up since the very beginning, and this new arc, it didn't skip a beat. It was non-stop action the entire time. Pedal to the metal, no pun intended, because they basically were driving the entire time. But man, we got new villains, old returning villains. We got a character backstory. On top of the non-stop action, we also learned a lot about Eos as well, where this arc is going to be going. We learned so much stuff. Like I keep saying, it was nonstop the entire time. From start to finish, I loved every single bit of this, and plus the entire series. There's not one bad issue in this entire run. I highly recommend checking out this one. Whether it's trade paperbacks, try to find these back issues. Usually I just say wait for a trade paperback or get the trade paperback. Now, if you can get your hands on these back issues, read them all in the single ones as well. This is worthy of a collection. This is a great run in my opinion. I want to hear your opinions on it too. And for those reasons, we've got it coming in at number 2. And here we go, everyone. This is it. Coming in at number 1 this week, taking the crown, we've got Image Comics' brand new one. No One, issue number 1. This is cover A. This is a new series that's set in the Massiverse. It is going to be only a 10-issue miniseries though, so just be aware of that. But man, let me tell you what, this first issue had it all, and I loved every single bit of it. Just like Nocterra, from start to finish, they didn't skip a beat. It was all phenomenal. It did remind me kind of like a crime noir series, and if you've been following me for a minute now, I love crime stuff, but it's not in black and white. So like I said, crime noir, but it's not in black and white. It just really had that vibe to it. Now, a little bit about it without too many spoilers. We got our main character, No One. We don't know anything about him. They went into so much detail with all the other characters. We got background stories on them. They went in depth on them, but on top of that, we really got to see their expressions as well. When they wanted to do something, when they didn't want to, when they were upset, they killed it. The artwork, they nailed every single bit of the artwork, and the story just paired so well with it. But so we've got our masked vigilante. His name's No One. Well, there's multiple people posing as this No One character. They don't know who he is, or they knew the original one, but now other copycats are taking place of him. But he's making people pay for their crimes because either the cops aren't doing it or the justice system isn't doing it. So No One is out there just wreaking havoc on who have committed crimes in the past. I highly recommend checking this one out. Like I said, it's part of the Massiverse. If you're a fan of those series, definitely check this one out too. But we've got it coming in at number 1 this week. This is Image Comics' brand new one, No One, issue number 1. And that's a wrap on this week's top 10 list of books, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to comment down below what your top read of the week was, or which ones you think I missed out on. If you want to check out some more content, I've got 2 more sitting off to the side here. And if you're interested in helping support the channel, I've got my Patreon listed down below as well. You get early access to these videos, access to my Discord, and I also do monthly giveaways on there too. If you've got any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. And here's a quick preview of the upcoming live stream from the EXP that I'm going to be part of. Thanks again, everyone. Have a great day.
Hey there, Dynamite fans. Come check us out on The Experience this Wednesday, March 22nd at 6 p.m. Eastern. I can be 90% sure that the whole gang will be here. You know, Rex, John, AR, me, Nick. We'll see what happens, but we're going to have more of your favorite titles with Dynamite, Marvel, DC, and more. And I'm sure we'll talk about plenty of our favorite stuff. So remember, it's March 22nd. It's a Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern, only here on The Experience. Can't wait to see you then.